Joseph Campbell. He talked about their hero's journey. This reluctant hero who is called to action. He meets a mentor along the way, and then that hero is tested. Comes out the other side transformed, passes on those lessons to the next generation so they can continue to feed their family, their tribe, their community. It's important to listen to that call when you hear it. I'm one of those people that knew what I wanted to do from a very early age. I was going to be in the military. It was just a calling. My grandfather, he was killed in World War II, had his medals, his wings, and I just knew that one day I'd follow in his footsteps. At age 7, I found out what SEALs were, and from then on, I was like, okay, this is where I'm going. This is my path. You see them going through obstacle courses. You see them in the mud, and you're like, yeah, I'll do that one day. I started training for it. Sprinting the hill outside our house, putting ropes up in trees, doing weird pull-ups like through the bars, different grips and stuff like this. And this is back in the mid-'80s before there was any such thing as CrossFit that told you to do things like that. I'm reading books on warfare, terrorism, insurgencies, counterinsurgencies, guys like David Morrell and Nelson DeMille and Tom Clancy. So I got a lot of my information from their research into their characters. What that really was doing was giving me an early education in the art of storytelling. So from all those guys that I talked about, those are my professors. Those are my mentors. Now, David Morrell, who created the character Rambo, we're friends. We talk almost weekly, and just a super amazing individual. I had such a good time reading those books that I knew one day I'd write books just like that. I joined the military in '96, essentially deployed the entire time I was in the SEAL teams up until that last deployment as a troop commander, shutting down Iraq at the end of 2011. I was always focused on doing the job, being the best combat leader I could possibly be for the guys, because that's what you owe them, that's what you owe their families, that's what you owe the country. We had a middle child with some severe special needs, so I went in this category in the military called the Exceptional Family Member Program, which means that you're not going to travel around anymore, you're not going to move your family, so you don't have to decide between your family and your career. Did my troop commander tour, which is the last time you'll lead the guys, and then if you come back, you're a CO of a team, which means you're in a tactical operations center. I got kind of a first-hand look into people that couldn't let go. They're calling the OPSO saying, hey, can I bring so-and-so by for a tour? Hey, can I show so-and-so the obstacle course? No matter what it is, it can be military, or it can be a law firm you belong to, or it can be a path you're on, a relationship you're in, whatever. It's part of your foundation from which to build, but not to stay stuck in it. It was very clear to me that it was time to get out, take care of my family. I was very fortunate that I knew where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to be an author, and I knew the genre I wanted to write in. I wrote 6, 7, 8 different ideas. I needed to decide which one I'm going to start with. So I did like one-page executive summaries of them all, put them all on a table, and then it was very apparent that I needed to start with the terminal list. I started the story with someone who was going to go on his last deployment, and it's going to be his last one because he's also an 04. The mindset he is in, that when he comes back, it's time to take care of the family. Then, of course, disaster strikes. I didn't have to sit down with someone who was a sniper in Ramadi. I just can go back there in my head and remember what it was like to brief these plans, to get the team together, to go through the streets of Ramadi in the dark at night and set up in our target building. I get to go into those feelings and then write about what it felt like. My protagonist, James Reese, is a better shot than I am. He is a better jiu-jitsu, better boxer, faster, wittier. But I wanted to humanize him too, so he likes his coffee. The way I like my coffee, with a little honey, a little cream in there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
It was different to picture somebody playing him. I wanted somebody different, somebody that was likable. And I thought back to like how in the 80s Tom Hanks was in all these comedies. And then in the early 90s he takes a risk with Philadelphia. And then from then on he can do whatever he wants. So I was thinking as I started writing, hey, who's that guy that would play James Reese? Who's at that stage where they need to take a risk? Because I'm taking a risk right now. I need that actor to also take a risk. At the time, Chris Pratt was Andy on Parks and Rec. He hadn't done Avengers, hadn't done Jurassic Park, hadn't done Guardians of the Galaxy. And he had a very small role in Zero Dark 30 where he played a SEAL.
Okay, so how do you know it's Bin Laden? Because the truth is, we've been on this op before. It was 07, and it wasn't Bin Laden, and we lost a couple of guys.
And I thought, this is the guy. When I was in that role as the operations officer at Buds, one of the E6's instructors, he called me out of the blue right before the book came out. And he said, hey, I always wanted to thank you for what you did for me in the SEAL teams. And I was thinking, like, did I bail him out of jail? Did I, what did I do? Did I tell him not to marry somebody? But he's like, hey, you sat me down in your office. You're the only person that talked to me about transition, introduced me to people in the private sector, and I've never forgotten it. I just wanted to say thank you. And he said, hey, I heard you wrote a book. Can you sign one for a friend of mine? I was like, yeah, man, absolutely. Who's that? And he said, Chris Pratt. I was like, what? That's who I envisioned playing this role as I was writing it. So he gave it to Chris. Chris read it, and then next week, calls to option it. The only person I ever wanted to direct it was Antoine Fuqua, who did Training Day, Tears of the Sun, Magnificent Seven, Shooter, Equalizer. Now that it's not a movie, now it's a series for Amazon, it's an 8-part series, he's directing that first episode. So crazy how all that stuff comes about, just insane. I looked at this as a business and a brand to build. It's not just writing, because if you're just writing, today anyway, no one will know that you exist.
Jack Carr checking in.
Checking in.
Checking in.
I never had a Facebook account, never had an Instagram account, never had a Twitter account.
So I want to talk about some fieldcraft survival.
I just studied the space, saw what you guys were doing, how you had built a brand. So I just took these little lessons here and there, what I liked, what I didn't, what worked, incorporated it into really just a sharing of a journey. I feel so fortunate, so thankful, which is why I try to stay engaged, because that's like my opportunity to thank people for allowing me to have this next chapter, allowing my family to have this next chapter. So I try to at least give the heart as I'm going down at the end of the night, like exhausted, or saying thank you or thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate it, and that is sincere, because without people reading the book and telling a friend, this doesn't exist. We talked about getting out of the military, identifying that passion, but then the mission. Those are two separate things, and when you can combine those two together, that's your path. I was handed my next mission in life, which is taking care of the family, which is taking care of our middle child who needs 24/7 care forever. Being able to write and have these books make the New York Times list, be turned into an Amazon series. I feel very fortunate that I'm doing something to accomplish that mission that I love. What kind of coffee someone drinks tells you a story about them, whether someone takes Folgers out of the cupboard in the morning, or it's a local small batch type thing, or if it's Black Rifle coffee. It lends credence to the character. I can just do a search online for what coffee do military guys drink. Like I already know what I drink. I incorporate Daniel Winkler's Tomahawks in there. I have Dom Rosso's Combat Flathead in there. I have a Bill Rapier Amtac in this next book. It's just fun for me to do, and it's fun for me to help out friends, companies, also pursuing their next passion in life. It's a cool thing to be able to do. Everybody's helping one another out as you move forward together in a positive way.